Hello, my gorgeous Geminis. This is your astrology reading for, what is it, for the month of March. Now, before I get into anything else, I'm putting out there for everybody, if you're new on your path, you're new to your spiritual energies, you're new to discovering astrology and stuff. I have a lot of people who are coming to me and they're not fully understanding what their moon sign is, their ascending sign. And you can always look at the description box below. And I always do astrology readings, so you could always go to my website and order your own, and we'll set up a time for you and everything. But if that's not really what you're wanting, you just want to know what it is so that you can, do your own discovery and research on that, then you can always Google, your ascending signs or your moon sign, and that will give you that information. That way, also, when you look at these different readings from me as well as other people, you have a better idea of what the stars have in line for you. And the reason I say that is because this is a Gemini reading. But if you're a moon in Gemini, we're talking more about your subconscious becoming conscious, your emotional depths, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, because the moon deals with, your depths. But if you're a Venus Gemini, then this is more about talking about your sensitivity and if that's working for positive for you or negative, and where you may be taking that and why. But if you're a Gemini rising or a Gemini sun sign, then we're talking more about your core and more about, the actual houses in general. So it gives you a better idea. And I do not know why, but Spirit is giving me Ghost. So for some of you, you may be picking up spiritual energies. Because what they're giving me actually from my notes is Holy Ghost. So this could be coming into a new level of spirituality for you, a new level of spiritual independence for you, soul truth. And then it could also be psychic energy of some form. But with it being the Holy Ghost that's being pointed out to me, I feel like this is coming more into a deeper connection of your oneness or the unity of spirit in general. They said it has to do with your preservation. So this has to do with, in a way, you reclaiming your rebirth. And now they're saying in some of these areas, reclaiming that rebirth in some of your larger groups. That ultimately will help your financial success, but it's your responsibility to claim your power and to stand in your humanitarian interests of service of what it is that those groups, do they support those goals, dreams, and ambitions? Well, that makes sense because that's your 11th house of what Spirit is trying to put to me right now. And what is it? I was just 1, 2, 3, 4. Your 5th house versus your 11th house are definitely having some altercations. They're having some deep discussions, so to speak. And we're going to get into that in just a minute because that has to do with what is in these two houses and your creativity over bringing that into fruition, more or less. And if you're getting into your true creativity. All right. Anything else? You're cleaning up some karmic debt. Yes, we know that. I don't mean to sound unthankful, Spirit. I just know where you're going with that. And I'm going to get there. They keep bringing you back to your ambitions, your goals, your humanitarian interests of service through self-realization, your creativity. You are overcoming some grief, sorrow, shame, and blame for some of you with government offices, government situations, could be court too. Getting over your darker level of thinking, or traveling through that darker level of thinking so that you can come out clean on the other side. This is definitely a moment of regeneration before the rebirthing. Shape-shifting. And connecting with your inner child. Your inner personal foundations and roots and inner emotional security. But it all has to do really with connecting with your soul fire and what, as an individual, that soul fire is trying to tell you what your dreams are and not giving up on them. Are we good? You are definitely overcoming some anger, some heart chakra and throat chakra issues. Forgiveness, acceptance. Blame and fear. Pride, and fear. And setting new boundaries. With balance and harmony. So that you're not on the back burner. And they're bringing up the gossip thing to me again. With the communication. And remember, Mercury is in retrograde up until the 9th, which is the full moon in Virgo. But even after it comes out of retrograde, it's still in shadow. So it is looking at some darker aspects. Inwardly and outwardly as it goes through the shadow. So, I mean, that could be where some of the gossip comes in. And that's where it's connecting with pride versus fear. And depending on what you feed, will be the abundance of it, is what they're saying. And in some cases, this may have to do with love interests. But they say to always remember you have free will. So it's all about what you will. Anything else? You're definitely, I want to say, undergoing evaluations within relationships. And definitely that communication, if it's healthy. Get away from the ones that lead you to self-deception. Stick with the ones that support your ambition, your goals, your dreams, your self-realization. Help you find liberated energy. Trust the higher mind, trust the intuition, the psychic energy. Hear this? I don't know what this is. I'm like tapping. I really feel like I'm playing, like just putting in a whole bunch of things into a computer. And I have no idea what this is, but I feel like this is something to do with, I'm just so quickly taking the energy, and I'm like jotting down the information, but I'm not really clearly, yeah, I feel like I'm just, like typing it in, like journaling. Like you're journaling the information. But make sure that you're paying attention to the details behind what you're journaling. That's what that was all about. Pay attention to your journaling, your recording the information. You're taking notes on everything around you. And what I'm getting with this tapping energy is while you're doing it, make sure that you're not missing the details. Make sure that you're not missing, don't just be taking the top, like what's sifting off of the top. See the true depth of what's going on there, because otherwise this journaling, this recording of what you're getting from, I think, other people is going to be there'll be no depth there. It'll just be another form of gossip, is what I'm getting. For whatever reason that is, I had to do that because now all of a sudden it just stopped. So make sure that you're getting to the root of it, not just recording whatever that information is or whatever you're researching or pulling in, because there's definitely much more depth there, and you're not getting to the authentic truth if you just sift off the top. You need to know the difference for whatever it is that is. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the real astrology. On the 4th, Venus moves into Taurus. Mercury also moves back while still in retrograde into Aquarius. The full moon will be in Virgo, and it takes place on the 9th, the very same day Mercury goes direct. That's going to be a sensitive day. I'm just telling you now. On the 16th, Mercury moves back into Pisces, now into its direct position, leaving Aquarius. On the 19th, we come into Aquarius season. On the 21st, you have Saturn moving into Aquarius for a very short time. It's doing like a short evaluation of what it's going to be assessing it, what it needs to work on next year, because it's still going to go in retrograde back into Capricorn, and it's really not going to come back until closer, I believe, to the end of the year. So this is giving you an updated assessment of where you're going to be going, that Saturn energy. And for whatever reason, they're saying that's also going to have something to do with your full moon energy on the 9th. And when Mercury goes direct on the 9th, and they're saying that'll have something to do with your inner emotional security, because that's where Virgo is going to have its full moon, in that 4th house. Now, you also have the new moon, which is going to take place in Aries on the 24th, and Mars moves into Aquarius with Saturn on the 30th. Like I said, putting some action and aggression into some of these changes it's going to need to assess and work on for next year. And if you're getting ahead of the jump, then you're only getting ahead, and it's better for you. Long story short. All right, so when we look at the astrology, you don't have anything in the 1st house. But let me tell you, this is also a pivotal moment for you, because your 2nd house is Cancer, and it has the North Node or Rahu in it. And it's only going to be here for about another, I think, 2 months. So it's getting to where it's going, did you get the memo? I'm running out of time. I seriously need you to get this through your thick head before it moves back into your 1st house. So this is talking about your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, how you feel liberated, shape-shifting into that energy through your very self-awareness and value of yourself, getting past the shamelessness or shamefulness or lack energy that keeps you from standing in your self-value, self-worth, and self-esteem. This is telling you to invest in your own securities. Get out of your insecurities. And the North Node, which is Rahu, in Cancer, is talking to you about nurturing that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And as you nurture that very thing, it brings that liberation forward, but it also brings in the law of attraction. And when you feel good about yourself, you value yourself, you feel worthy, you start also bringing more money to you because you're doing things in that level of possessions, because it's also ruled by Venus. Technically, the 2nd house is. And it starts bringing that law of attraction to you. But if you're not feeling worthy if you're feeling low in your value, in your self-esteem, then what you're actually standing in is a low law of attraction that's bringing you more to feel not worthy and valuable for. And you're running out of time here. And what I mean is, it's running out of time being here to teach you this lesson, because it won't be back to this second house for you once it moves out in the next 2 months for about 13 years. So this is the time to really get past these insecurities and start investing in that in yourself, because it's going to move back into Gemini and bring other levels of self-awareness to you. But we're going to get into that when we actually get Rahu moving into Gemini. Right now, it's about making sure that you're strengthening that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, getting past those insecurities. And it's going to be hitting maybe a little under the belt in areas where it is uncomfortable because it's running out of time. And it only has this little amount of time to get it through your thick head, to try to make sure that it's supporting and helping you. Now, what is fighting it is your 7th house. No, your 8th house. Yeah, your 8th house. Because the South Node, which is K2, is still in that 8th house. So what's keeping you from completely and comfortably finding that inner emotional security and self-worth and self-value and self-esteem, liberated energy and shift into that power, is the rules, the walls, and the relationships of the outer community, of your relationships, and any and everything you have, any and everything you care about, you have a relationship with or a partnership with. And it speaks to you of the joint finances, joint resources, joint efforts, balance, harmony, justice. Is there justice in this outer community, outer relationships? This is where birth, death, and rebirth takes place within these relationships. This is where the magic and the mystery of life happens. And if you have lost your value, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your liberation, and you're in insecurities, it's because of the rules that you have set incorrectly in the relationships. Is where other people have, in these relationships, not taken it from you, but you feel like they've stepped on you and kept you from being able to come into that value. And it's telling you at this time you really need to pay attention to setting these proper rules, walls, and boundaries. Saturn is about to move out. Saturn is about to go one direction, and K2 is about to go the other direction. You are getting a big whammy in that outer community right now, saying rules, walls, boundaries. Where is the spirit for you found within these rules, walls, and boundaries? Are you balanced? Are you fair? Are you even? Or are you on the back burner? Are you supporting their dreams, dreams, ambitions? You should be just as important in these relationships. Why do you feel like you're lacking? Why do you feel like you're lacking or you're less? Because less is what wanted to come out. This is saying we're not going to feel less anymore. We're going to come into our power. We're going to take action. We're going to allow our spirit to be seen. We're going to be just as important, not necessarily more important, but just as important as everybody else in these relationships. And I'm going to show you where my value is and show you what liberation is for me. And this is what you should be coming into. But in some of these cases, this is definitely going to be dealing with finances as well, because some of these relationships are dealing with finances. And like I said, if you're not setting the proper rules, walls, and boundaries, you're going to find your finances go less because your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem is less. Law of attraction. If you feel good about yourself, you bring more to you. If you feel bad about yourself, you bring more of that to you. All right. With that being said, you don't have anything going on in your 3rd and 4th house. That is your inner emotional security. That is your inner emotional security, and it's also where your communication is. You're pretty much already in your energy. There's nothing here to influence it. But with the energies of everything else that's going on, plus Mercury was in retrograde, even though there's nothing in these houses influencing them, the outer communities the outer houses, energies are definitely influencing it, just not in that house, in the other houses. So you have Mercury, which has been in retrograde in Pisces and in Aquarius. Then it's going to go back to Pisces. This is speaking to you of the communication, also the shadow of that communication. And for you, that's your 9th and 10th house. This is, again, speaking to the spirit. Where's your spirit? Where is your soul fire? Where is your spirit? Where is your soul fire? Where is your creative magic to believe in yourself and to create what you want? You've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to believe in that. And then put that into those outer relationships, rules, walls, and boundaries. Again, that communication. And Mercury being in retrograde and in shadow is probably showing you where you're not communicating what you need to be communicating. And when it's showing you what you're not communicating, what you need to be communicating, it's going to be pushing on those rules, walls, and boundaries in these relationships and in your finances, going against you. Unless you're learning from what Mercury is trying to tell you, those frustrations and self-judgment of where you're in your head going, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. No more I coulda, shoulda, woulda. You just do. Okay? Because that's trying to tell you that you're holding on to the idea of what I wished I did, but I didn't do. I didn't have the courage to. This is about getting the courage to do those things so that you are rising, as well as bringing yourself more positive action. Spiritually, soulfully, as well as liberating yourself in that sense, but as well as bringing it into your honor, your reputation, your financial success, and your social foundation. So it's strengthening all the way across. Now, your 5th house here. This is where you have a lot going on. The 5th house versus that 11th house. And it's backing up what I've already been saying. The 5th house for you is Libra. And this is where you want harmony and justice and balance. Okay? But this is also your inner child. It's your creative interests. It's your pursuit of pleasure. Lovers. Hobbies. It's your fun zone. Dating, sex, romance, just enjoying life and being happy to be part of it. You have the collective consciousness here, Haumea here, and Ura here. Sorry, it was trying to say a different word. So your collective consciousness is Haumea. Make is the lotus flower, and the lotus flower is the collective consciousness is asking the lotus flower if it's found justice and balance in your growing. The lotus flower grows in a swamp. So can you not see the light because you're stuck in the swamp? Are you starting to rise and go, oh wow, there is an above and below? And I really want to be part of the above, where I can stretch towards the sky and illuminate and enjoy my fun zone, my pursuit of pleasure, find lovers, let my inner child run and play and be free, dating, enjoyment, experiencing life, finding that courage of that lion, because the 5th house is ruled by Leo. So it is the courage of the lion as well. Even though it's in Libra, asking you balance and justice, stop overthinking it. Okay? That's what this is coming down to. Asking you to take commitment, sacrifice a commitment to your own fun zone, to your own enjoyment in life. Don't be on the back burner and don't be afraid to be out in the limelight. Put yourself out in the fun zone and allow that creative interest to explore, as well as show people what you're worth, how valuable you are, how creative you are. But what it's not getting along with is that 11th house, which is Aries. And Chiron is here. So this is your insecurities of your self-realization or their self-realization of you in your larger groups, your friends, your memberships. And will they support your ambitions and your dreams and your goals? The only way they won't is if you have the wrong soul tribe in the first place, and then, well, they need to go because it's time to find new ones. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. It's more of your insecurities, overcoming your insecurities about finding security within yourself and balance and justice for yourself. Getting past being afraid to experience yourself with others, seeing it and acknowledging it and accepting it. You accept you. You love you. And as you do that, the right people, if they're already there, will illuminate, or the right ones will start coming into your life that will support those dreams, goals, ambitions coming into fruition, so it's no longer a dream, it's reality. And bringing that into self-realization. Now, when we get into, because we already talked about your 8th and 9th house, it's pretty much down to your 11th house, because we've already discussed everything. No, your 12th house. Your 12th house is Taurus. Independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom. Self-worth, self-value, self-esteem is in your karmic self-deception, is in your inner denial, your inner self-sacrifice, your inner self-prison, of your inner insecurities, the skeletons in the closet. The 12th house is about healing that. It's about bringing to light those insecurities, overcoming them, facing them, and no longer having them be a self-sacrifice, but what brought healing to you because you overcame them. This is overcoming the skeletons in the closet, the fears, the doubts, the anxieties that you won't live up to what everybody else thinks you will be or will accept you to be what you really want to be. But if you don't get out of the closet, how will you ever know? I love you guys. Face your insecurities and show the world how wonderful you really are.